My coworker reported me to HR for taking long lunches, so I started documenting every single rule she broke. She sat across from me in our open plan office for 2 years and smiled at me every morning and asked about my weekend and brought in baked goods on Fridays, and I genuinely considered her a friendly colleague, if not quite a friend. So when HR called me in on a Thursday afternoon and showed me 6 weeks of logged complaints about my lunch break duration, I sat in that chair for a moment, experiencing the specific disorientation of finding out that the person who asked about your weekend every Monday morning had been building a case against you every Tuesday through Friday for a month and a half. The complaints were petty in the specific way that only truly committed pettiness can be. 13 minutes over on a Tuesday, 11 minutes over on a Thursday, a cumulative record of my lunch breaks presented to HR with timestamps that told me she had been checking the clock when I left, and checking it again when I returned and writing it down somewhere. And I had been completely unaware because I had been under the impression that we were colleagues who had a functional and friendly working relationship. I was wrong about that. What I was not wrong about was my memory. Because I had 2 years of observations about her conduct sitting in my head that I had never done anything with, because I had never needed to, and because I am not by nature a person who keeps score. But I do have a good memory. And the moment I walked out of that HR meeting, I sat at my desk, and I opened a document, and I started writing things down. Her habitual late arrivals, which averaged between 8 and 14 minutes, and which I had never once reported because it was not my business. Her personal phone calls taken at her desk during work hours, which sometimes ran 20 minutes or longer. The client billing codes she had asked me to help her with twice in the past year that I had quietly noticed were not accurately reflecting the time spent on the relevant accounts. The expenses she had submitted after the team lunch in November that I happened to know were higher than what had actually been ordered because I had seen the bill. I documented everything I could recall with dates and approximate times and whatever corroborating detail my memory could supply. Then I waited 2 weeks, added the things I had observed in those 2 weeks to the document, had the whole thing reviewed by a friend who works in employment law, and submitted it to HR on a Friday afternoon. The investigation took 3 weeks. She was formally warned on 2 counts and required to complete a compliance training on expenses policy. My lunch break complaints were reviewed and dismissed on the grounds that my actual time away from my desk fell within the company's flexible working guidelines that she had apparently not read before filing her complaints.